If the name Dave Brailsford doesn't mean anything to you, then I promise you the next few minutes will be more than worth your time. Dave Brailsford was the British cycling performance director who was responsible for them winning 5 Tour de France's in a row. Now that's amazing enough as it is, but what makes it more amazing is before Dave Brailsford took over as the performance director, the British cycling team hadn't won a Tour de France in over 100 years. In fact, they were so bad as a cycling team before Dave Brailsford took over that manufacturers didn't even want to supply the British cycling team with equipment because they didn't want to be associated with a team who never won anything. Now, when Dave Brailsford was hired, his philosophy wasn't to come in and make major changes, which is what you would think would be what was needed to be done. In fact, his philosophy was marginal gains over time, compounding into big changes. Now, the way he did it when he came in was he started to look at things that nobody else had considered. He would go and change things like the comfort of the seats. He would change things such as the pillows and mattresses that the team slept on so that they would get better sleep. He went as far as to paint the team truck white on the interior so they could see dust, just in case that was affecting performance. He would teach all of the cyclists how to wash their hands properly to avoid illness so they wouldn't have time out of training. These sort of things at the time when he was hired seemed to be pedantic, seemed to be silly to a lot of people. They wondered why he would be focusing on silly things like these. But what he was looking to do was to make small incremental 1% changes, because he knew that if you make many 1% changes, that compounds over time into huge changes. Of course, he went from a team who won nothing for 100 years after he'd implemented all these changes to the best team around. Now, the reason I just wanted to say that and explain that story is because it's so applicable to our lives. Most of the time when we look to, make a change in our life and be something different and achieve something, we try to look for the big wins. A lot of people might say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start waking up at 6 a.m. I'm going to have a healthy breakfast, drink water, go to the gym. And they have these grand ideas only to fall short within a day or two, because as humans, we're programmed and we can't just decide one day to change. That's not how it works. It happens over time. It's a gradual process. Major changes like that are unsustainable. The best way that we can elicit change in our lives is to look for the small wins. Instead of saying you're going to wake up at 6 in the morning, maybe think about, do you have a set bedtime? If you don't even have a set time which you go to bed, start there. That's a small thing that you can do and that you can maintain. Once you've got set bedtime, you'll find it a lot easier to wake up at a certain time. Instead of saying to yourself you're going to, read a book a week, why not just agree to read a page a night if you are not reading at all already? Now, these changes are sustainable. You can maintain them. And if you make enough of these small changes over the course of a year, imagine doing one of those a day. 1% a day over 365 days is 365%. Now, we can change our entire lives by thinking small instead of thinking big. It's more maintainable and it's easily digestible, and you can spot them much more easily. You can look around at your life and your habits and see where you could make these improvements. So let's take Dave's philosophy and apply it to our lives, and we can see the compounding in action.